Niners fans and Chargers fans tonight. It's about that time, 8 o'clock on a Friday night. Faithful Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. And it's a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to be on with the faithful, the Niner Empire. Some of the best fans, y'all know it, in the NFL. I appreciate everyone coming through on a Friday night. I appreciate you guys coming to hang out with us. I do have a special guest in tonight, Touchdowns and Tight Ends. All their social media info is in the description. Make sure you guys check them out, show them some love. But of course, this show is nothing. This show is nothing without the fans in the comment section, without the fans watching, the subscribers. So I got to say what's good to all the people in the chat. But first, shout out to everyone watching on Jay and the Bay Facebook page, the Spotlight Sports Network Facebook page, and of course, Jay and the Bay YouTube channel. So let's continue on with the people in them comments. Let's see who we got in here tonight. So we got Monica. What's good? Appreciate you coming through to the stream, Monica. Hopefully your Friday is going well. She says, yay, Jay and the Bay with touchdowns and tight ends. Ladies, love it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Jonathan Law, what's good? Appreciate you coming through to the stream, Jonathan. And looks like we also have M. Pale. He says, Jay and the Bay, what's good? Appreciate you guys coming through on a Friday night. And let's see, we also have Luke Luna. What's good? Appreciate you coming through to the stream, Luke. And Impale says he's been a faithful for 38 years. All right, that's what I'm talking about. I know you're excited for the season, as am I. Crisco's Country Life. What's good? Appreciate you coming through to the stream, Crisco. And we also have Thin Blue Line. What's good? Appreciate everyone checking us out tonight. As I say, on a Friday night. And if you are in the chat right now, go ahead and leave a thumbs up for the stream. Let YouTube and I know that you're enjoying the stream so far. Amin the Dream, what's good? Appreciate you coming through to the stream, Amin. And without further ado, I do have two special guests on tonight. They represent the Touchdowns and Tight Ends. Nicole is decked out in that powder blue Chargers gear, and Ashley is in the red Niner Empire gear. And let me bring these two ladies on with us right now. How you guys doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
So good. Thank you for having us. So excited.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm glad you ladies could be with me on tonight. Like I said, again, it's a Friday night. I know a lot of people could be doing other things, but for those that are watching us right here on a Friday night, I definitely appreciate it. And as I mentioned before, the Touchdowns and Tight Ends social media info is in the link. If you just tuned in, make sure you guys check out Touchdowns and Tight Ends. Let me first start off with how did you start off with the Touchdowns and Tight Ends, Nicole?
So Touchdowns and Tight Ends was an idea we've had for a long time. So Ashley and I actually met through sports. We played water polo and swam together back in high school. And then, we were really close. We went to high school in Fullerton, so we were really close to Anaheim. So we went and saw the Angels games all the time. And sure, there was Sunday games in football, right? But with school and water polo and, at that age, it was just so hard for us to really get involved. And it was really expensive to go to games. But over the last couple of years, we've gotten really into the game. Both of us, we spend a lot of time together on weekends watching the games. For me, fantasy football really got me into other teams and not just the Chargers. So we were like, why don't we create something where, other women who maybe, like Ashley always says, we're not experts, right? So where other people who really like the game of football, who love football, who want to talk about it, but maybe are a little intimidated or they don't know everything, just a safe space for men, women, kids, adults, anybody, to come and hang out with us and just pretend that it's, you're hanging out with your friends on the weekend. So
Absolutely. And I love how you ladies say that you don't know everything, because no one does. No one knows everything. I get nervous before I go on live stream every time. I get nervous before I make videos. So obviously I started my journey about a year ago on YouTube. It's been a wonderful journey. I wish I would have started sooner, but that's good that it seems to be a passion of you all to talk about the love of your Chargers and your Niners. You had the crazy idea of talking to people on the internet. That's that's pretty daring. But that's good. I think we need definitely more women to talk about the game, and I think it's very exciting. And I know you ladies are definitely looking forward to the season. I'm going to continue to say what's good to the people in the chat. Thanks for coming through, Coach Dante. He says, "What up, my boy Jay?" Also, Variety TV. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream here on a Friday night. And let's see, 49ers first takes. And Touchdowns and Tightends are very familiar with 49ers first takes. Was that your first collab on YouTube?
That was.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to you, First Takes. Actually, excuse me. What's good, 49ers First Takes? Thank you for introducing Touchdowns and Tightends to YouTube. Since that was you guys' first collab. Obviously, let me take this off the screen. Obviously, Ashley, you're a 49ers fan. And how did you end up becoming a 49ers fan?
So I didn't grow up in like a football family, like a lot of people did. Where I grew up, so like back in the 90s, when I was growing up, it was like you were either a Cowboys fan or you were a 49ers fan. And like that was just the crew that I rolled with, right? It was like you had to pick a team. And so at a young age, I just decided, like, I guess I'm just going to be a 49ers fan. And that is truly how I became a 49ers fan. And I was probably like in 5th or 6th grade when that happened. And it's just never changed. Like they've been my team, good, bad, win, lose, through all the up and ups. And I didn't always follow football so closely. I got married, I had a kid, all of life happened. And then I think I started to get really back into football just a couple of years ago, like in 2000, I think it was the 2019 season. So it's, a real good season to get back into 49ers football. And that's kind of where, like Nicole said, that passion came for Touchdowns and Tightends. Like we just have so much fun watching the games. And I'm like a really competitive person. So I think watching football, it's like good for me in that competitive way. So yeah.
And I, we wanted to do this so much earlier, but I feel like with COVID, it was the perfect time because we had the extra time. There wasn't, anything to do on the weekends anymore. So we were like, let's just invest our time and energy into that. And it worked out so well because the 49ers and the Chargers are practicing together right now and they're playing together on Sunday. So it was just like such a perfect year for us to kind of come out with this.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's when I started my YouTube journey as well, August of 2020, obviously during COVID. And that changed a lot of people's lives. And, as you said, we had a lot of free time on our hands. So I was like, hey, why not just talk about the Niners, start a YouTube channel? I would definitely wish I would have started sooner, but I'm glad I started the journey so far. And speaking of 2019, obviously, Ashley, that was an excellent year to really start to hone in on the 49ers. That was our Super Bowl year. Last year was a terrible season, obviously, for the 49ers. Multiple guys on IR, inconsistency at the quarterback position. Now, going into this offseason, the 49ers had multiple free agents that could have left the team this past offseason.
Oh, yeah.
Which free agent are you most excited to be back with the 49ers, Ashley?
It's kind of tough because I think we had a lot of really good signings this year. But if I had to narrow it down to one, I think that I was the most excited to get Trent Williams back after Staley retired, right? Having that left tackle. I mean, he's the best tackle in the NFL right now. And I believe we signed him to a 6-year contract. So to know that we have that position in a great spot. And then like right behind him is probably like Kyle Juszczyk was also like another great signing. So those are like my two. When I was watching free agency, I was like, man, I really hope we lock these guys in because, we've already got George Kittle on his contract. We just got Trent Williams on his contract. We got Kyle. We just got Fred Warner. Like, so.
No, absolutely. Isn't it crazy how, Joe Staley, he's been probably one of the best left tackles I've seen since I've been watching football for easily the last 2 decades. You go from Joe Staley, then you go to the big silverback, Trent Williams. I mean, that's like a dream scenario when you go from, the upper echelon, Joe Staley, and then you go to another level with Trent Williams. That's very rare. But yeah, I'm definitely glad. I agree with you that we re-signed Trent Williams. Now going to the LA Chargers, they had, it was a weird year last year for the Chargers, Nicole. I didn't know, usually when you hire a doctor, the doctor's supposed to have, the best. They're supposed to have the team's, best interest, right? They're not supposed to take out the players.
We're starting with this.
Well, the doctor took out Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah.
And obviously it was a mistake, but voila, here comes Justin Herbert, and he had an excellent season. Now, obviously, Justin Herbert, he's the franchise quarterback. I don't remember the last time a quarterback from Oregon really stepped into the NFL and excelled at that high of a level that Justin Herbert did. Were you surprised about how good he was during last year, Justin Herbert?
So I don't think any of us, there was no preseason, right? So we didn't really get to see much of what he could do besides what he did in college. I think, everyone was like, we need to have him under Tyrod for a year, was hoping to keep Rivers for another year, maybe have Herbert stay under him, just get the experience, work with the team. So having Tyrod out first game, Herbert coming in against the Kansas City Chiefs, bringing that game to overtime, I think all Chargers fans were like, heck yes. Like, finally, we have this killer quarterback. And he had some great games and not so great games, right? We lost to the Patriots 45-0. That was awful. But just watching him in practice this year, and I am surprised that he is where he's at today, but I can't wait to see him grow.
Yeah, absolutely. He definitely stepped onto the the NFL gridiron, and I believe he won the Rookie of the Year, the Offensive Rookie of the Year. So he had an excellent year, and we'll see how he does in his sophomore season. I got to give a big shout out, a hot diggity dog to 49ers First Takes for that $5 super chat, man. I appreciate that. You going above and beyond to support Jay and the Bay YouTube channel. I appreciate that $5 super chat. He says, I'm so happy to see all of you. Lots of good juju going on here. Absolutely. And that's what we want to project in the world. A lot of smiles. We're having fun. And I'm glad Touchdowns and Tightends is here with me tonight. And sticking with the Chargers, the same question I had for Ashley about the free agents. Which free agent you think was most vital to returning to the Chargers this season?
So a free agent that we received that I am super excited about is Corey Linsley. He came from Green Bay. He's a solid center. We needed that. Our O-line, our defense, our special teams, they've all been lacking for a little while. And I think just, bringing any talent there to strengthen that, I think our O-line this year is just going to be insane. I think that we've completed it for the first time in a long time. So I'm really excited about him. I'm interested to see how Jared Cook does this year, replacing Hunter Henry. He's jumped around a lot. He hasn't been consistent. He's been on like 5 or 6 different teams since he started. So he's already connected with Herbert though during the practices. They're definitely connecting. He's catching the ball. So we'll see. But Corey for sure.
Yeah, Corey, that was an amazing addition. I believe he was ranked as like the top 2 or top 3 center in all of football last year. I'm surprised the Packers did not re-sign him. But yeah, that's great. The game is won and lost, in my opinion, in the trenches, and the Chargers did an excellent job with picking up one of the best centers in free agency. That's for sure. That's without a doubt. I got to say, what's good to Jamie. Thanks for tuning in to the stream, Jamie. Hopefully you're enjoying the stream. Also, shout out, what's good to Braves Films. Thank you guys for coming through on a Friday night. And continue on. You mentioned Jared Cook. Now, Jared Cook, I feel like he's been like a mercenary. He's been, recently he was with the Saints. A few years back, he was with the Raiders. Like, he's been on a lot of different teams. But you guys lost Hunter Henry, and he was pretty good, but he couldn't stay on the field. He just couldn't stay healthy. But I think Jared Cook should fill in admirably for Hunter Henry. I'm interested to see that connection. Justin Herbert, Jared Cook, and all the other weapons you guys have on offense. Now, Ashley, going into the 49ers offseason, there were definitely needs, especially in the draft, that I felt we needed to address. Which rookie draft pick that we selected do you think will make the biggest impact this season?
This one's kind of tough, but if I look at, I guess, the training camps and even just the game last week, I think that Diamador Lenore is going to have a big impact. Not having Richard Sherman in the cornerback position, I think that's a position that needs to, we don't have a lot of depth there, right?
Yeah.
And I was really impressed by Talanoa Hufanga in the last game. I know people probably want me to say Trey Lance, but I don't know that I'm there yet.
Who are you talking about?
But I really think, that safety position, the cornerback position, we don't have as much depth there as we do in some other areas. And so I really think that those two, just showing what they've been able to accomplish, I've been pretty impressed with them.
No, absolutely. Going into the offseason, I believe we only had one corner signed through this offseason, and I was surprised we brought back Jason Verrett, K'Wan Williams, Emmanuel Mosley, and I think we definitely needed an influx of young talent in the secondary, and we did that with Lenore, with Thomas, with Hufanga. I mean, Hufanga is like a tackling machine. He's just always around the ball. I don't know how many snaps he'll get in defense this year, but I definitely think he could be a good gunner on special teams and the punt return and kick return. He just has a knack for hitting people, and he's definitely not afraid of contact. And I think the 49ers definitely benefit. I don't know what it is about John Lynch and fifth-round picks, but he does an excellent job in selecting in the day 3 picks of the draft. That's for sure. I gotta say, what's good to JB and M Sports Fanatic. Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Hopefully your Friday night is going well. Also, what's good to Awesomeness Sports. Thanks for tuning into the stream. Hopefully you have a great weekend. And for those that are just tuning in, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Let YouTube and I know that you're enjoying the stream. Also, check out Touchdowns and Tightends. Their social media info is in the description. Make sure you guys check it out. And also, same question to you, Nicole. Which rookie draft pick will make the biggest impact this season, in your opinion?
This one's tough because I think we've got quite a few good ones, and even just watching the practices over the last week or two, I didn't know too much about a lot of the rookies that we signed, but the biggest one for me is Rashawn Slater. He's going to protect Herbert, and he keeps saying that. They keep talking about it. I think there's even memes about it and whatever. But I think that the biggest thing that we need to do besides get our defense where it should be is protect our quarterback. We cannot have Herbert get hurt. I think he's one of our greatest strengths and one of the ways that we can win. So I think I'll go with Slater for my pick.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with that. You guys have a right tackle who should be with the team if he pans out easily for the next decade. And, it starts up front. You got to protect the quarterback. You definitely don't want a situation like, Andrew Luck in Indy, where for years they neglected the offensive line and Andrew Luck had to retire early. You definitely don't want a situation like that. Also, with the Chargers, they selected, I believe it was Asante Samuel Jr., I believe.
So that is my honorable mention. I could see him getting Rookie of the Year. But if the question was just one, so I went with Slater. But yes, he is definitely he's always around the ball. He is always around the ball.
Yeah, and I don't know how you feel, Ashley, but the Niners, they were in position to select Samuel, with the second round pick, and I thought, our needs going into the draft was of course we're going to get a quarterback, Trey Lance, and then I thought we would get either a receiver or a corner. And we had the opportunity to take Samuel. We traded down and got a guard. I understand the move. Were you surprised by that move, Ashley? Do you wish we would have selected a corner?
I think I was. I do believe I felt like that was where we needed, like we've talked about a couple times, the most support. So I was a little surprised, but I feel like I have so much trust in Shanahan and Lynch, right? And like they're just so thought out in what they want for the team that I was like, all right, like I got to trust what these guys are doing right now.
No, I agree. I agree with Lynch. They definitely had a plan, and I think their plan was to, we add depth along the offensive line. We get younger in the secondary. We also got more talent at the running back position. I think overall the Niners had a good draft. I wish we would have went and gotten a wide receiver. But first, I got to say, what's good to Blue True? I appreciate that $10 super chat. Blue True says, great guest at Jay in the Bay. Happy Friday. Oh, you are too kind, Blue True. I appreciate your support. Also, Luke Luna, hot diggity dog, with a $5 super chat. He says, Jimmy Stay area going to start and make this thing hum. We will definitely talk about Jimmy G and Trey Lance in the future, or excuse me, in the show later on. Quick question for you, Ashley. Do you wish we would have drafted a receiver, in the first few rounds of the draft, or were you satisfied with the receivers in the receiver room?
I don't know that we have. Well, no, I mean, I feel like I was okay. And then, but that was before injuries, right? And so I think Debo and Ayuk are great.
Yeah.
But below that, I think we have like a lot of room. And I don't know that a rookie would be the answer to that this year, but like maybe long term. And so maybe I don't know that I'm disappointed that we didn't. But because like I said, I don't know that they'd be starting this year. Maybe third or fourth, right? So that we probably bring somebody in who would be, and I know we'll get to this later, so I'm not going to give my
no worries. Yeah, I was a little surprised that we didn't get a receiver, but then we have Jalen Hurd. He was a 3rd round pick, right? Been injured the last 2 years. We also had Juwan Jennings. We brought back Mohamed Sanu, picked up Trent Sherfield. Those signings, specifically Sanu and Trent Sherfield, they seem to be working out. Also Simba Webster. So it seems like Lynch's plan is working out. I obviously you can't have a perfect draft. I would have wished you went it for a receiver or drafted a receiver, but it seems like it's working out. So hopefully it continues to work out. So Nicole, the Chargers made significant changes this offseason to the head coach. They let go of Anthony Lynn. I believe he was with the team, correct me if I'm wrong, at least 4 years, or was it 3 years?
I think it was 4 years.
4 years, yeah. So I think he was okay. Did he? I don't know. I'm not sure about the Chargers, but did he get to the playoffs at least once?
2019.
2019. Okay. So,
yeah. Same year you guys went to the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Were you surprised that they let him go in the offseason?
No.
Okay.
No. There has been so much chatter around letting Anthony Lynn go. The last year was the worst. It was every other play, timeouts that weren't being called, plays that he was making. It was not good. We needed a new mindset. We needed somebody to come in with a clear head, with a different perspective on, what the Chargers need, not so offense coordinated, but, having our new coach now who is so defense minded, I think that's really, really going to help us. And, he's working on trying to find something that's going to suit Herbert and his strengths, right? And not just make it all about the offense, but really a collaborative effort for the whole team. So I think he's going to help us win for sure.
So it sounds like Anthony Lynn definitely underachieved. I mean, the Chargers, usually every year, they're one of the most talented teams in the NFL. And it's clear that you are excited about the new head coach, Brandon Staley. How is Derwin James doing? I know he was a 1st-round pick, I believe, 2 or 3 years ago. Very talented player, but unfortunately he's had injuries. How's he doing in camp this year?
It's funny that you say that because LeBron James just shot him out today, saying how happy he is to see him healthy. Derwin James is one of the best players we have. He's one of the best players out there. The problem with Derwin James is the injuries. And I know that we're talking about, the starters playing in the preseason games later. So I'll get to that more. But as long as he doesn't get injured, our defense is going to be the best it's been in a long time.
Yeah, and the defense definitely, you guys have, the second best Bosa brother in the NFL. So you guys should be very proud of that.
I beg to differ, but
of course. And I saw a training camp today, just a quick side note, that Kittle and Derwin James were matched up. So that was a very exciting to see in training camp. Kittle got the best of Derwin James, and I believe Derwin James returned the favor. I think Jimmy G threw a pick 6 to Derwin James, and Derwin James took it back to the house. But it's always great to see two of the best at their position go at it in training camp. I wish I could have been present for that. Are you guys live near the training camp where the scrimmages that's taking place? Okay.
Yeah.
Is it
how to work today?
Okay.
Yeah, no, we're going to the game on Sunday, so it was either one or the other.
One or the other. And obviously you rather pick the game, of course.
Yeah,
of course. And Ashley, so with our 49ers, obviously huge shout out to Robert Saleh. I'm glad he got the head coaching job with the New York Jets, well deserved. He was an excellent defensive coordinator for us. He was always hyped on the sideline. The players, the coaches respected him. Now, we have a new defensive coordinator in DeMeco Ryans. He was a hell of a player. I think he was like an All-American in college. He played the position well in the NFL with the Texans and the Eagles. And the players have said they respect him. He's very knowledgeable. So what do you think? Do you think the 49ers defense will be better or worse compared to last year now that we have a new DC in DeMeco Ryans?
I think that's tough. Again, shout out to Saleh. Going to miss his energy on the sideline, and I'm actually really excited to see what he does with the Jets. So I'm going to be watching that team this year. If I'm not mistaken, DeMeco worked under Saleh, though, right? So there was kind of like maybe like a mentorship or some development happening. I just think about, again, like how we have depth within our team and players. I think that there's also been depth within the coaches. And so will our defense be I don't think it'll be as good as 2020, meaning like we didn't have a very good, last year was last year, right? But can we get back to 2019? And I do think that the defense can go back to 2019 under DeMeco. Like you said, the players respect him. I actually think he may play a little more aggressively than Saleh did. And I cannot remember the quote. He had like some sort of quote about coming out like super aggressive. I should have looked it up. And like you said, he has experience on the field. And so I think that, and we have as long as our players are healthy, I think it is almost more important. We got to have healthy players for us to have a good defense, but I think that our defense will be 2019's.
No, absolutely. And speaking about DeMeco Ryans, he was brought over, I believe, in 2017 as I think it was like a quality control coach. And then the following year, he was the linebacker coach. And obviously, he's coached up, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw. They're two of the best linebacker tandems we have in the NFL. And I'm eager to see how DeMeco, he knows the scheme, but we don't know how will DeMeco scheme for another team. How will DeMeco adjust in game? Like, we won't really know that until the games actually start. But I'm excited. He said he wants an exciting defense, or excuse me, a fast moving, explosive defense, attacking defense. And that sounds great. And I just want to see it actually, play out.
Yeah. There's probably going to be a learning curve, right? If you think about it, anytime you're new to position, your experience level drops a little bit before you get confident. So I'm sure there'll be some hiccups, but our players are really good. So
absolutely. And that always helps. Exactly. That always helps to have good, healthy players, and hopefully, they'll be ready week one, especially with Bosa and D Ford. Now, speaking of the preseason, Touchdowns and Tightends will be at the preseason game this Sunday. But unfortunately, the Chargers, they will not be playing their starters in any of the preseason games. What are your thoughts about that, Nicole?
At first, of course, I'm bummed that I don't get to see my boys play. However, how injury prone we are, I think just like the 49ers, like I mentioned earlier, keeping Derwin James healthy. I'm happy about it because I think to me, the biggest thing with preseason, it's not really who wins and who loses, right? Like if the 49ers win or the Chargers win, it's not, I don't think that that's showing us who a better team is. I think preseason is all about seeing, what we're capable of, what the rookies are capable of, who do we want to hold on to? I think that's really, what we need to use those games for. Sure. Do I wish maybe they'd come out for one quarter and get a little playing time? Yeah, that would be great. But if they're just going to sit back and, let all the rooks come in, second string, that's fine for me. I don't want Allen hurt. I don't want Eckler hurt. I don't want Herbert, James, Bosa, any of those guys. So I'm okay with it.
Cool. Yeah.
And with coaching like Anthony Lynn, he wouldn't have done that.
I understand that. I respect that. I think to each his own. I feel like players, they do have to, they have to like ramp up. Obviously last year there was no mini camp, no training camp, no preseason, so the players couldn't really hit. They couldn't really practice amongst themselves. So when it came game day, you just have to get up out of bed, strap it on, and go out and play. But I think you have to build, repetition, muscle memory. You actually have to hit. But we'll see what happens. I know the LA Rams have this same approach where, they don't play their starters in the preseason, and they've been pretty successful at that. So maybe the Niners should adopt that. And speaking of injuries, Ashley, the Niners, we continue to have injuries in training camp, and obviously we had a ton of injuries last year. Do you think? What are your thoughts on the 49ers injuries in training camp? Is it a fluke? Is it a coincidence? Is it the Candlestick Park Stadium curse? Like, what's going on here?
I feel like I have to only put like positivity out in the universe, and I gotta say it's a fluke right now.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it probably is, right? Like injuries are just one of those freak things that it's like they play this aggressive sport. You're bound to get hurt. And dude, was it? Well, I can't remember who it is that just stood up and tore his knee. That
was Jeff Wilson Jr.
Jeff Wilson Jr. Right? And I'm like, that was just like some freak injury, right?
Yeah. Just happened.
Yeah,
that was maybe a month ago, maybe 2 months ago when that happened. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and say it's a fluke. I mean, I think last year was like lack of conditioning and training, like you were just saying. I think this year maybe it's part of that, and then it's just injuries happen. Maybe some of it is conditioning, like the conditioning coaches, right? So, but for keeping the positivity in the universe, I'm going to go ahead and say it's a fluke and it's not a coincidence. We're going to be A-okay. But if I did learn something last year, even though our season didn't go well, right? We were 6-10. What I did learn is that even our second and our third strings came out there and played, right? And so we didn't win a bunch of games. We also performed better than a lot of other teams in the NFL with our second and third string playing. And so I am confident that even if there are some injuries, like we're really starting to build depth in second and third so that we'll be in an okay place.
Yeah, and I think that's how you combat injuries. You have to have good depth among, you can't have depth. You only have 53 active players on the roster, plus the practice squad, but you can only do so much as far as depth. But I think John Lynch has done a great job, adding depth to the running back room, the defensive line. I think the secondary, we do have depth. It's a little unproven, but I think we do have depth there. We also made some free agent signings with linebackers, a few days ago. But as far as injuries, it's like, I don't know what Shanahan can do differently. If you choose to not play the guys, or you choose to have not as intense practices, will the guys be ready for, actual game day? Practice and actual playing in the game, it's different. The intensity level is different. Then if you practice them hard and they get hurt, it's like, oh, you're pushing them too much. Well, you have to get prepared. You can't, if you're running a race, you have to run the race. You can't just walk it, right? Like you have to prepare yourself for the physicalness of the game. And the only way you do that is by practicing. You have to hit, and you have to at least practice, 80, 90% of how you would play an actual game. So I don't know. I don't really know what to say. I can only chalk it up to it's a physical sport, and injuries unfortunately happen, to every team.
Yep. Same.
Are the Niners, are all your starters playing in the preseason?
We had 22 starters sit out last game.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not all.
But in this game, Shanahan did say that he wants Jimmy G and the starters to play at least one quarter. And then Trey Lance is going to play the second quarter, and then Sudfeld is going to play the third quarter. So basically first string, second string, and third string. But I know Trent Williams, he probably won't play. There'll be a lot of starters. Trent Williams won't play. Nick Bosa won't play. Samson won't play. There'll be plenty of starters that won't play.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that though, having, one quarter be the starters and then second, third, like you said. I think I didn't even think about that. Right. And now I'm kind of like, oh God, we should be playing. But I think that's a really valid point, and put them out there for one quarter,
Right.
I won't lie. I got nervous when Jimmy was out there for his 3 snaps.
Don't get hurt. Don't get hurt.
Is that the reason you were hurt, Ashley? Because is that the reason you were nervous about Jimmy G, because you were concerned about him getting hurt, or was it a bad performance?
Nope. No, I thought he played fine. I was nervous he was going to get hurt, and I'm like, don't get hurt before we start.
Yeah.
But it makes sense, right? He needs to be warmed up and good to go. He looks good out there, though.
And speaking of Jimmy, he hasn't played. I mean, since I'm trying to remember the last game he played in. It might have been October. I'm trying to think the last game, or maybe it was November. But it's been a while since he's actually played football, like meaningful football. So he has to kind of get the kinks out, shake the cobwebs off, get the rust off, whatever you call it, and he's got to play. And it's also good for repetition with the receivers, with the offensive line. There are the new offensive lineman we have. I guess it's just one, with Alex Mack being the starter at center, but they have to develop a rapport as well. So, I gotta say, what's good to Rams House? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Now, obviously, Rams House is an LA Rams fan, but I welcome on the intheBay YouTube channel all fans. It doesn't matter who you root for, especially fans in the NFC West, because we play each other twice a year. So the Rams, the Seahawks, and Cardinals. And I appreciate you coming into the stream tonight, Rams House. Shout out to Mullet. What's good? He agrees with me when I said the second best Bosa. I think that's what he was referring to. So
I think you're right.
Shout out to Luke Luna. $2 super chat. I appreciate that, man. Thanks for tuning into the stream. I appreciate your support. And let's see. So we talked about, so I was going to ask, obviously I felt in the draft and free agency, I wish we would have went after a wide receiver. Now, we brought in a few wide receivers from free agency. And who do you think, Ashley, is the favorite to win that number 3 wide receiver job after the Ayuk show and Devo?
So it came down to there's 2 people and we kind of already talked to them. I actually think wide receiver number 3 will be Mohamed Sanu. He's looking really good. I mean, I remember seeing some of his training videos he was doing, but he's been playing really well. I also think that Debo and Ayuk are still so young in their career that somebody like Sanu could come in and offer leadership and guidance and how to be leaders on the team, in addition to how well he's playing. And then after watching that game on Saturday, I also think that Trent Sherfield, right? Yeah, Sherfield is somebody who could be right there in number 3 or number 4. So I think we kind of talked about that earlier. But those would be the 2 that come to mind. Obviously, we wish we could have had Jalen Hurd, but I believe he's injured again, right? Or he's not practicing right now because something's feeling tight. And then Richie James, but Richie James that thing. And then we have Juwan Jennings, but I think that those guys will probably be on like the practice squad, like that depth we were talking about. So, but I really think we'll see Sanu. And I know we didn't see him last year, so I'm actually excited to see him play this year.
Yes, Sanu mentioned last year that, he was out of shape. He wasn't his best self, and that's why he wasn't really productive last year. But I'm sure you've seen the videos on IG where it's Sanu and Trey Lance working out together. Sanu, he looks younger. He looks very fleet of foot, and he looks like he's ready to come into camp and compete. And yeah, I think it'll be between, Sanu, Jennings, and Sherfield. And I'm surprised Sherfield has been as successful as he has. He used to play with the Cardinals, and he was just like a special teams guy there. But I'm glad he's here with the 49ers, and I'm eager to see who is the best number 3 wide receiver, because Kendrick Bourne was here last year. Kendrick Bourne, he's solid, but, at least he was healthy, and at least you could kind of count on him. So we definitely need someone to take over that Kendrick Bourne role and be a good blocker as well.
Yeah, Kendrick also brought that energy to the team and to the wide receivers. So I'm like, man, who's that going to be for us this year? Like who's dancing on the sidelines and all the stuff. So, yeah.
No, I think you definitely need that around the team. You definitely need someone who's going to keep it light around the guys. I don't know who that player is that can replace that Kendrick Bourne factor, but hopefully they can replace his production on the field. So
yes,
I gotta say, what's good to Young Hitter. Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Also, JH Sports, what's good? Appreciate you coming, Tim. He says, what's up, Jay, Nicole, and Ashley. All right.
Hi.
And I appreciate everyone coming into the stream tonight. Now, question for Nicole. So, obviously, the Chargers have had recently, haven't had a great connection, I guess, with the fans, with the city of San Diego. So I know this is a sensitive subject, but have the Chargers fans embraced the team playing in LA?
Not entirely, no. And I don't know if it will ever happen. I know personally so many of my friends. So I grew up in San Diego. So a ton of my friends, still live down there, and everyone was a Charger fan. And when they moved to LA, I continued to follow them. I mean, I'm not following the city. I'm following the team, right? And it's not the players' fault. It's not the team's fault. That was Spanos. He's the one that gave up, and, the city didn't give him what he wanted. So he's like, forget it. We're leaving. So I can't blame the team for that. There are so many people that take it so personally, and like they despise they'd rather be Raiders fans now. And it's hard to watch, but I was just down in San Diego last weekend. I was down there for a Padres game, and I have not seen that many people wearing Chargers gear in years. So I don't know if it's Herbert. I don't know if it's bandwagon. People are jumping on the train, but the first year that we went out to LA, the Rams went to the Super Bowl. So already we're the underdog. And now you've got the Rams who made it to the Super Bowl. And I was like, okay, now really LA is the Rams house, but I don't know. I went to Fan Fest at SoFi, and there was tons of fans, and I'm connecting with a lot of people in this community. So hopefully we can bring it back. But as far as the old school Chargers fans becoming Los Angeles Raiders fans, Los Angeles Chargers fans, I'm not sure. I don't see it yet.
So was the reason the owner moved the team, was it just he wanted the city to, give more money for funding a new stadium? Was that the main reason?
It was to fund a new stadium, so they couldn't stay where they were because of environmental things. We couldn't stay there for whatever reason, or there was work that needed to be done that was so expensive. And then they were trying to work all these deals with hotels, with adding additional taxes that would help pay for the stadium. And the city was like, no, we're not doing that. And so he gave up after being there for over 50 years and was like, I'm going to go make a deal out here. And then we moved.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's unfortunate because the Raiders, same situation with the city of Oakland. City of Oakland values the Raiders, or I should say they valued the Raiders, but, they have bigger fish to fry. They have to worry about a lot of other things than the Raiders when they were here in Oakland. And same deal, got a new stadium in Sin City in Vegas right off the strip. And now the Raiders are no longer, of course, in Oakland. So very unfortunate. And then the same thing with the Niners. Niners moving from the city to Santa Clara. So, it's very unfortunate. But I guess, every owner wants their shiny, brand new stadium, just like all the other teams in the NFL that usually get what they want. And just like the St. Louis Rams. Moving
Right.
back to LA, so.
I think, Nicole, aren't there more season ticket holders to Chargers games right now than there ever has been? Or I thought I saw some sort of reporting.
I'm not sure about that. I know for SoFi with the new stadium, I know that there's 3 sections, right? There's 3 different levels you can choose from, and the middle level is all sold out. You cannot get, but I don't know what it was back in San Diego, but there are a lot of season ticket holders, and this is hard for me to say, but I feel like a lot of them are people that want to sell the tickets to the teams that we're playing.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know. I've seen a lot more Chargers fan. Even yesterday I was at Trader Joe's and there was 2 girls wearing my hat. And I'm like, what? Like, where did that come from? And I'm down in San Clemente. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it's turning around. But I would love for us to be back in LA or back in San Diego. Here in LA at SoFi, it's not even our stadium. We're pretty essentially renting it from the Rams. So yeah, everyone wants their own stadium, but we already came in as the underdog with it not even being ours. Right. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And, hopefully for the San Diego Chargers fans, hopefully, they can move back, get their own stadium, a brand new stadium. And hopefully the fans will forgive the owner for moving the team. But that seems like, so far into the future, but hopefully that happens. I'm sure that's what Chargers fans would want, right? They want their team back in San Diego. For
sure. I think the only way that will happen though is under new ownership. I don't think it would happen with Spanos. His family could push him out, and maybe, I don't know. Yeah. But that's ideally where I think we'd all like the Chargers to be. How many teams does LA need?
Yeah.
So many teams.
Yeah.
Even the Angels, they want to do the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. It's why? It's Anaheim.
Yeah. Because they want that Los Angeles name. They want that speaks volumes. That's like an international city. Like everyone from all over the world, they go to New York, they go to San Francisco, they go to LA, they go to Vegas. So I think that's part of the reason why. But yeah, hopefully for Chargers fans, they can move back to the team can move back to San Diego. But going to the comments, Amin the Dream, he says, I think the defense, he's talking about the 49ers will be good, but not as good as 2019 because we don't have DeForest Buckner or Richard Sherman, and Bosa wasn't coming off of an ACL injury in 2019. But I think the defense will be fine. I agree. I think the defense will be good. As long as our defensive line can get pressure on the quarterback, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah.
David Yang, what's good? He says, we lost so many games last year due to self-inflicted turnovers. We were in a lot of games, just couldn't make the plays to get the win. Mullins literally threw away 4 games. Yeah, at times last year, it was terrible to watch, the poor quarterback play because turnovers just kill teams. And, it was very hard to watch last year at times, for sure.
We did not have good depth at the quarterback position last year.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. And I'm glad that Lynch did an excellent job. He brought in Rosen. I know he's no longer on the team, but he brought in Rosen. He brought in Sudfeld. Of course, we have Trey Area, the future franchise quarterback. Now, speaking of Trey Lance, who do you have, Ashley? This is a heated debate among a lot of 49er fans. They're either, with Jimmy or they say Trey should start week 1 and Jimmy shouldn't even be on the team. So who do you think, Ashley? Who should start week 1, Jimmy G or Trey Area?
I am a big Jimmy G supporter. I think that Jimmy's our best shot at winning a Super Bowl this year if he's healthy. I think that he has the experience. I think that Trey will come in and do some really good things for us this year. I don't know that he's going to come out in week 1 and start. That doesn't mean he won't start at times, right? But I think we even saw it in the last game. He had some really great plays, but he also, like, we could tell that he needs some experience out there on the field playing in like the NFL. And I think that we don't need to rush it. Like, let's get him the experience under his belt so that when Trey comes out there, he is successful, he is confident. And right now, I think Jimmy's our best bet. He knows the playbook. He's looking really good right now. I mean, I know we could talk about the interceptions he's been throwing to Fred Warner, but he's throwing interceptions to Fred Warner. Like, that's Fred's job, is to also, right, try and get them. And so it's kind of hard to hold those interceptions against Jimmy, because I'm like, Fred's doing his job too, so it works both ways. But I think that Jimmy's going to start in week 1.
I totally agree with you. And what's also in Jimmy's favor, he's got an excellent jawline. That's also very well. No, but when Jimmy is healthy, the team wins. It's just a fact. When we traded for him in 2017, he won 5 games. And let's be real, Kyle Shanahan does not have a winning record as a head coach without Jimmy G under center. I don't think that's a coincidence. Is Jimmy G Dan Marino? Is he Peyton Manning? No, but I think he makes enough plays in this offense. I know people love to see, Trey Lance look to the right and look to the left and throw deep bombs. And, he makes the exciting plays, and that's all great, right? But I don't care who's at quarterback as long as we win. And I trust Shanahan to make that decision. So if he feels, hey, Trey is the more exciting player, he's got the higher ceiling, but Jimmy right now is the more experienced player. He knows the nuances of the NFL. He's actually played against another defense that's trying to take his head off. He's very experienced, and I think you go with the experience. And Shanahan said he's going to sprinkle in just a skosh of Trey Lance in the offense this season.
Yeah.
And I think that will confuse defenses, and I think he will give Trey Lance valuable snaps, but we don't need to put the rookie in. We don't need to put this pressure on him early. This isn't 2017 when we had Brian Hoyer at quarterback. This is with Jimmy G, and we've seen what he can do, at the highest level in the NFL. I got to give a shout out to Luke Luna, $2 super chat. I appreciate it. He says 49ers can move to Canada and it's still red and gold. I agree with you, Luke. I appreciate that. And I know people want Trey. He's the new toy. People want to play with the new toy. I get it, but I trust Shanahan. Whatever Shanahan thinks.
I even go back to just like being a supportive fan base, right? So like, just imagine like if you were the player and you're out there and nobody wants you to succeed, like it's got to be really tough to still get up on that field every day and try really hard. So I'm like what you're saying, right? Like, how do we trust Shanahan? That's the head coach. Like, he knows what's best for the team. Like, I'm not a coach. I have my thoughts, but like, that's not my profession.
Right. No, exactly. And if there's a reason, I think part of the reason why I'm still behind Jimmy is because, he's got 2 years left on his contract. There's only $2 million guaranteed. What that means is if we cut Jimmy G today, tomorrow, next week, we only pay him $2 million. Clearly, Shanahan sees value in Jimmy G being on the team, because we could have cut Jimmy G in February, day after the Super Bowl, if we wanted to. But there's a reason why Jimmy is still on the team. And I think we need to ride with Jimmy, and we'll see what happens, during the regular season. Nicole, the AFC West division, very good division. You got the Raiders, you got the Broncos, obviously your Chargers, and then of course the Kansas City Chiefs. I know Chargers fans are high on their draft. The free agents they brought in. You got Justin Herbert in a sophomore season. Do you think they can overtake the Chiefs and win the AFC West division this year?
Well, when you hear my prediction for the season, because I'm very optimistic, yes. Okay. Obviously, the biggest challenge is going to be KC. I think we've got the Raiders. I think we've got the Broncos. As long as the Broncos don't end up getting Aaron Rodgers anytime soon, I think we will be okay. I think there's a couple things that are key for us winning the division. One is our quarterback and the rest of our starters, keeping them all healthy. Again, defense, Bosa, Derwin, Herbert, Allen, Eckler, everybody else, Williams. Number two, our coach. He's going to bring in a whole different vibe, and it's going to be a different team. I think we're a sleeper team. I think that we're very underrated. I think that we're going to surprise a lot of people. I think that injuries, we need to not have many injuries in order to win, and also special teams. We've brought in a couple more kickers in. Hopefully we'll have some help there. That's probably where I'm not comfortable. I'm not 100% that we're where we should be, but I definitely think it's possible that we can win the division.
And I can't wait to see this play out because that's one of the toughest divisions, I think, in the NFL, along with the NFC West. I know the Raiders, they've got the offense. I think defense is still a little shaky with Broncos. It's like, who's going to be the quarterback, Teddy B or the other quarterback? I'm forgetting his name. But it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. And I think all the teams in the division will beat up on each other. And we will get into the record prediction in a few minutes. But I got to continue to say what's good to all the people in the chat. DC, the Bayou Bingo, thanks for tuning in. Shout out to Travis Berg Jr. What's good? Thanks for tuning in. He says hello to the three of you. The Sports Star, what's good? Appreciate you coming into the stream. Hopefully your Friday night is going well. And Ashley, who is the toughest opponent in that NFC West division? Who do you think?
I mean, it's a tough division, but if I just look at the historics over the last couple of years, we have swept the Rams for the last 2 years, right? The Cardinals, I think, started out pretty well last year, and then I don't know what happened. I think it's the Seahawks. I don't know what it is, but every time we play the Seahawks, I feel like the games are just so intense, like they're so close. I think that they keep me on the edge of my seat probably more than when we play the Cardinals or the Rams. And so I don't even know that they're like the best team in the NFC this year. I don't think so. I think that they're probably like 3 or 4. But when it comes to just how the two teams have played each other, Pete Carroll's such a great coach. Russell Wilson's amazing. Metcalf, like they have some really great players, and I don't know what it is, but whenever we play the Seahawks, I just really think that's like our toughest opponent in the NFC West. Yeah.
Yeah, and in regards to last year, as you mentioned, the Cardinals, they got off to a good start, and then Kyler Murray got hurt, I believe, after maybe week 9 or week 10, and Kyler just wasn't the same. So the Cardinals, they kind of teetered off. The Rams, now I know we beat the Rams the last 2 years, but they upgraded with Matt Stafford. Now, what are your thoughts on Matt Stafford, Ashley? Do you think that's
I don't know. Like I didn't follow the Lions, right? So like I don't know how well Matt plays. I don't think he's ever made it to the playoffs, and I know you could blame that on coaching and the other team. Mm-hmm. Goff did get them to a Super Bowl, so I don't know. I don't know that I've ever been like super impressed by Matt Stafford. I want to say they say he's like a top 10 quarterback, but I'm like, I'm sure I can name 10 that are better. So.
Yeah, Stafford, he's a prolific passer. The knock on Stafford, of course, he doesn't have much playoff success, but who does in Detroit, right? But he's on the best team, I think, of his career when you look at both sides of the ball with the weapons they have on the Rams offense, and then on defense, you got Ramsey, you got Aaron Donald. So I think the Rams will definitely be better this year. And I agree with you, though. Russell Wilson, he's just been a thorn in my side ever since he was drafted by the Seahawks. I mean, when you think you have him corralled in the pocket in the games, and then he just slips out, he's running, he's calling Sierra. He's like, what's up? And he throws the ball. It's like, man, this guy just makes plays. And it doesn't matter if you have a lead on him. He just makes plays. And hopefully we have that playmaker at the quarterback position in Trey Lance for the future. But, yeah, I would say it's the Seahawks because I think they have the best quarterback in the division, and it's not even really close. Russell Wilson, he's arguably like, a top 3 quarterback, I think, in the NFL. So all of our opponents in the NFC West will be tough, but I think when we play the Seahawks, when we go up to CenturyLink Field in Seattle, they got the 12th man with those fans. It's definitely always a tough game. But I'm definitely looking forward to it, though. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I got to say, what's good to Minister Brandon. Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Hopefully your Friday night is going well. 49ers Nation, what's good? He says Sanu might be slept on. And Sanu, wide receiver Mohamed Sanu, has been looking good in camp. And hopefully, he keeps that up once the regular season comes, because we will definitely need to rely on him and I think a few other receivers. But I'm eager to see how the wide receiver room shapes out. Because I'd imagine Shanahan probably wants to keep at least 5 wide receivers and maybe 1 on the practice squad, or maybe keep 6 and 1 on the practice squad. So we'll see. Roberto, what's good? He says, what's good, Niner family? How's everyone doing? He says, is Jalen Hurts seriously not going to play all preseason? Have you heard the latest about Jalen Hurts, Ashley?
He's hurt, isn't he? What kind of injury? Yeah. He sprained something.
He's got knee tendonitis in his torn ACL from last year. And it's very frustrating with Hurts. He hasn't been able to stay consistently on the field basically going on 3 years this year. I would be surprised if he makes the active roster because he can't stay on the field.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for Hurts, we got Sanu, we got Jennings, we got Sherfield. And after that, you got River Craycraft, you got Richie James, you got Travis Benjamin. We'll see what Shanahan decides on that. But I would be surprised if Hurts makes the roster this year.
Yeah, same.
Now going to the Chargers, Nicole, do you have the schedule in front of you for the LA Chargers?
I do not, but I can pull it up right now.
Okay. I was going to ask you, obviously you're in a pretty tough division. You got to play the Broncos twice, the Raiders twice, the Chiefs twice. But looking at your schedule this year, who do you think is the toughest non-division game for your LA Chargers this year?
I don't even need to look for that. So there's a couple that I think are going to be challenging. So the first one that I think could be tricky, and I don't know if it's just some weird thing we have with the Patriots, but the fact that we lost 45-0 last year is really concerning to me. But I think that could be a revenge game, right? And hopefully we blow that one out. I think my 2 big ones is the Ravens and the Browns. We beat the Ravens in playoffs back in 2019, but that was with Rivers. So Lamar Jackson was very new at that time. So he's a much better quarterback today than he was then. And I think the Browns are going to have a really good season, and we don't have a whole lot of experience playing with the Browns. So they could take us by surprise. But if I was going to pick one that's going to be the most difficult, it would be the Ravens.
Ravens. Yeah, the Ravens are definitely a tough team. I would also say game 1, the LA Chargers have to fly down to DC and face off against the Washington football team. The Washington football team have one of the best defensive fronts in the NFL. They're definitely going to test out that new and improved LA Chargers offensive line. Now, the knock on the Washington football team is their offense. They have weapons on offense, but I don't know if you guys are a believer in Ryan Fitzmagic. I'm certainly not a believer in him long term. I think he's solid in spurts. He has to come in a few games, but over a full 17-game season, I'm not a believer in Fitzmagic. But I think that first game will be a good test for the Chargers going to Washington. But you guys have.
It's going to be a good game. I think that's one. I did a season prediction a couple weeks ago, and I think Washington was one of our losses for me.
Okay, yeah, I think it'll be very close. I think it depends on who turns over the ball the least.
Right.
If you turn over the ball, Washington gets the ball. They have a short field to get to the Chargers end zone. So I think that's what it'll come down to. But yeah, also that'll be a good test for Justin Herbert going up against one of the top defenses in the NFL, game one. So first, I got to give a shout out to Luke Luna, $2 super chat. I appreciate that. He says, for the ladies, especially to my faithful, heart emojis. All right. All right, Luke, we appreciate that. Let's see. Same question to you, Ashley. You have the 49 schedule handy?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I took a look at it. So, I mean, I feel like for the most part, our schedule's not as challenging as it was last year, just because of how we ended 2020. But when I look at our opponents who are not in the NFC West, I think that the Titans are probably going to be one of the harder teams for us, right? They got Julio Jones this year, right? And Derrick Henry. And then the other team is like maybe the Packers, because I feel like it's always been kind of like a toss-up. And I know that Aaron Rodgers has been unhappy, but this might be his last year playing, and who knows how hard he's going to come out playing this year, right? Like, He wants a Super Bowl, and there's been that rivalry between like the two teams. And I mean, LaFleur is not on our coaching staff anymore, but I was going to say between the brothers as well, right? Yeah. But I really think it's probably going to come down to the Titans. Everybody else, I'm like, I mean, I think we can beat the Eagles and the Lions and the Bengals, and so I'm going to go Titans.
I would agree, and some people have said the Indianapolis Colts, that's going to be, I believe it's week 7. That's going to be a Sunday night football prime time game, and DeForest Buckner will be coming back to Santa Clara to face off against the 49ers. But in that game, we have a bye week right before that game, so the players will be well rested. Shanahan and the coaching staff will have twice the amount of time to prepare for the Colts. So I think we should be able to win that game. But I agree with you. The Tennessee Titans, that game is 2 days before Christmas. It's a Thursday night game, a short week. The Niners have to fly down to Nashville, Tennessee. And I think that's probably going to be a loss for the 49ers. Everything is going against us in that game. I think that's one of our toughest games this season for sure.
Yeah.
I got to say what's good to Jay. Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Also, Corey Davis, he says, hello, Jay and the Bay. What's good? Hopefully your Friday night is going well. Waiver Wire Queen. Speaking of fantasy football, I know that Nicole is very interested in fantasy football. Waiver Wire Queen. She's somewhat of a savant at fantasy football. At least that's what she says. But I got to say, what's good to Waiver Wire Queen? She says injuries was a big issue for you guys, but Jimmy G is terrible. Wow. She says, I can't wait until Trey Lance gets on the field. And then she had the nerve to say it again. Jimmy G is terrible.
How do you really feel?
I know, right?
Statistically, he's really, really good. Like if you start to look at his stats when he's not injured.
I appreciate your thoughts, though, Waiver Wire Queen. That's pretty funny. So now we talked about the toughest division games. Now let's get into the Chargers regular season record. What are your thoughts on that, Nicole? What do you think the Chargers regular season record will be? We've got a 17-game season this year. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so the optimistic side of me is going to go, and I know everyone's just going to laugh at me, and that's fine, but I have my reasons for each game, but 13-4. The realistic side of me is more 11-6.
11-6, okay.
Yeah, but I'm sticking to my guns. I'm going 13-4.
I could see that for the Chargers. That would be a big jump up from last year. Put you on the spot. What was their record last year, the Chargers?
We won, was it 6 in a row? I think we won 7 total.
So you're like 7-9 last year?
I think so. Were we that good? I don't know if we were that good, actually.
I mean, the Niners were 6-10. So like,
yeah.
I feel like you guys did better than us, no?
I think we didn't do very well in the beginning. We were 7-9. Yeah, I was right.
7-9.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so that would be a huge jump up. To win, even if you guys went 11-6, that would be a huge increase in wins compared to last year. And I think that's definitely something that the Chargers can do, especially if you guys stay healthy. And Ashley, same question for you.
It's funny because I know Nicole's predictions because I watched the recording she did of them, but she doesn't know mine. So it's really funny because, like, optimistically, I also believe the 49ers can go 13-4. Like I said, looking at our schedule, I think some of our hardest opponents are going to be in our own division, right? Even though I think we could still take our division, but I think we'll go 13-4. And then it's funny because I also have 11-6 for like my
really.
For like my more realistic one, but like I said, dude, we got to put like all the good juju out there for the team. So
when you look at the opponents, though, I mean, it can happen. Like it 100% could happen. It's just everyone's going to lose that one that we thought we were totally going to win, but I don't know, 13-4.
Yeah, I could see the Niners. I think we could go 12-5. I don't think we will sweep any of our division opponents. I think those will be some of our toughest games. And I feel like a lot of those games will go down to the wire. Whoever has the last possession in the fourth quarter, whoever commits the least amount of turnovers. And then we play the good old LA Rams the last week of the year. So that could determine who wins the division. But yeah, I can see us going 12-5, and I think we probably will lose, I would say, at least probably one game each to our division opponents. I would say maybe we could sweep the Cardinals. But yeah, I think it'll be I think 12-5 is, and that's if of course we stay healthy, but I think we can definitely get there 12-5.
Yeah.
Gotta say what's good to Josh. He says, love the show. Both teams have my Bosa boys from Ohio State. Hope to see them go against one another soon. Yeah. We appreciate that you are enjoying the show. For those that are still in the stream, go ahead, hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you let YouTube and I know that you're enjoying the stream. Also, check out the description. Touchdowns and Tightends social media info is there. I'm sure they would appreciate your support as well. J.A. Aguayo, what's good? He says, what's going on, Jay and the Bay and young ladies? How is everyone doing tonight? Great discussion. We appreciate that you're enjoying the show. So this was great to talk to you all. Oh, wait, give me 1 second. I think Blue True has a question. The Niners Empire is for Ashley. What do the Chargers fan call themselves, Nicole?
What do we call ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
Bolts?
Bolts, yeah, I think so. Monica says the Bolts.
Bolt up, Bolt Nation, yeah. I'm like, is this a trick question? Am I missing?
Yeah, I think it's the Bolts. I think that's their nickname for Chargers. I think it's the Bolts. Yeah. Everything hashtag is like Bolt Up or something like that. So
Bolt Up, Bolt Gang. Yeah,
exactly. I appreciate you ladies being on the show with me. I can't wait to do this collab again in the future. So Touchdowns and Tightends, what are your plans for the upcoming season? Do you plan on starting a YouTube channel? Will you be talking about the games during the week? Let us know.
Ashley, you want to go this time?
So I mean, like, we do have a YouTube channel. It is Touchdowns and Tightends, but there is not really any content on there yet. So bear with us. But I do believe that Nicole and I plan to start to, I don't know if we've decided if it's going to be live streaming or recording. We're still working through all of that, but Tuesday nights at like 8:00. I know it might be like a little late, but we work. Our kids are in sports, and so like 8 p.m. has been the thing. But I do think we want to try to do something Tuesday. This upcoming Tuesday, I believe we're going to go. Yeah, this upcoming Tuesday, we're going to go over our game-by-game predictions, win-loss predictions. And then what we want to do is every week kind of have an update on, like, were we right or were we wrong? Right. So, like, we can kind of follow, like, our predictions. I think that's kind of, like, the biggest thing that we have planned for this season so far. Nicole?
Yeah. So definitely starting the podcast, right? I mean, we've uploaded a couple TikTok videos here and there just to get something on there to test it out and see how everything works. But definitely, we were supposed to start last Tuesday, but life just got hectic. So start this Tuesday after the game, kind of introduce ourselves, banter a little bit, talk about the preseason game from Sunday, and then get into our predictions and just kind of recap every week. And for right now, I mean, we haven't really discussed like having people on with us or anything. It would be more just her and I, but it's definitely something we'll probably end up.
No, that's very exciting. I'm glad that you guys, started the YouTube channel along with, your Instagram and TikTok. Those are fun as well. But that could also help bring traffic to your YouTube channel. So that's definitely a great idea. I think that's good. I'll definitely will be watching. I think that's good. Just start hitting that red button to record.
Yeah.
Everything else will take care of itself. And that's good. You guys already have it set out. You're going to do your thing on Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Pacific time. That's definitely great to hear. And I'm eager to see. So Nicole said 13-4 at the high end, 11-6 on the low end. And then Ashley was basically 13-4, right? Same thing.
Yep.
So
same exact.
yeah. So we'll see how those predictions stack up. But I appreciate. Let me see if there's any comments specifically for touchdowns and tight ends. Let's see. Let me see if there's just anything. Let's see. So Blue True does say, cool, thanks, Nicole. Looks like you have some big fans from Monica. Monica's a big fan of you ladies, so that's good. And she says, look forward to the podcast. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Monica says, I wish your Chargers the best tale. However, tell your husband I'm sorry his Seahawks aren't winning the West. The Niners are favorite to win it, and we about to do it, baby. Ha ha.
That's a good thing he's not listening to this right now. He would have something to say. The Seahawks 49ers games are always so fun for me to watch because obviously Ashley and then my husband being a huge, so it's fun. It's a fun Sunday or Monday.
Absolutely. And I'm really looking forward to the season. I'm really looking forward to the preseason. I wish the Chargers starters would play, but I definitely understand, you want to keep your guys healthy. I definitely respect that. But I appreciate touchdowns and tight ends. I appreciate you ladies coming on to the show. The floor is yours now. You can promote whatever you want. You can say, hey, Jay and the Bay has been the best interview so far on YouTube, talking about, our respective teams. I'd appreciate that. But the floor is yours. The audience is all ears. So what do you have to say before we head on out?
So first of all, I just want to say thank you for having us. Thank you to everybody in the community that's reached out to us and, that's wanted to have us on your show. You guys are all awesome. Jay, your energy, I just love it. It's contagious. It was so fun to be on with you. We definitely want to chat again. But as far as, social media, so it's touchdowns and tight ends. Is it touchdowns underscore and underscore tight ends for Instagram, same as TikTok.
Yeah. And
then YouTube is Touchdowns and Tight Ends podcasts. Luke has given us some feedback saying that maybe we should say T&D podcast so people don't have to write up so much. So maybe we might change that in the future. But for right now, Touchdowns and Tight Ends podcast. And just excited to, get to know you guys more and talk to the community and get through the season together.
Yeah. I don't know if I have much more to add. Nicole said it really well, but Jay, thank you again for having us on your show. This has been wonderful. I know it's a Friday night. Also, thank you to everybody joining because it's a Friday night. And again, thanks to everybody for welcoming us into this community. I know Nicole and I were a little nervous about trying to step into the football scene, but everybody's been so welcoming. Everyone's been so helpful, so supportive, and just thank you to everybody. And we're really excited to continue to grow the community and just connect and engage with everybody.
Absolutely. And shout out to everyone in the chat. as Ashley said, for coming here on a Friday night. We appreciate you guys conversing with us in the chat and just adding to the stream, because that's what it's all about. Like you said, it's about the YouTube community. And I'm sure your social media platforms will grow, especially the YouTube. You just got to hit the record button, and the fans will follow. So, but I appreciate you ladies coming on tonight with me on a Friday night. I know you could have been doing any other activities you want, but I can't wait to see how our teams progress this season, and hopefully we all stay healthy. That's what I can definitely hope for. Exactly. And have a great weekend, and we will definitely be in touch in the future.
All right.
Have a good night.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Take
Bye.
it easy. Bye. All right. So that was Touchdowns and Tight Ends. Make sure you guys check them out. Their social media. I didn't know they had a YouTube channel, but that's good. I'm definitely going to subscribe. They definitely know their stuff. And they don't know everything, and I don't know everything, but you can tell they are very passionate about the LA Chargers and about the San Francisco 49ers. So I'm definitely glad that they were able to come onto the show, and hopefully we can definitely do that again in the future. And let's continue on with these comments. Let's see, where did I leave off? Let's see. Monica says, Mostert running past Green Bay at supersonic speed week 3. We win in that game with our defense. I would agree with that. I think, Rodgers is definitely a problem. I think it'll be a close game. But we tend to bully the Packers when we're healthy with our running game, and I think that will continue. Luke Luna, he says, Browns have the most complete team in the NFL. They just have to out it together. Baker can do it. Yeah, they got a good running game, pretty good defense. And as long as Baker doesn't turn the ball over, I think they'll be fine. Luke also says the Browns are his sleeper to go to the Super Bowl. All right. I could see that. JH Sports says Stafford is a top 10 quarterback. He says name 10 who are better. I think he's probably top 12. I would have to write down, all the quarterbacks, but he's definitely up there when he's healthy and he's playing at, his best. Let's see. Let's continue on with these comments. Let's see. Okay, JH said top 10. So Young Hitter says, great stream, Jay. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your night. Same to you, Young Hitter. Have a great weekend as well, man. Let's see. Yeah, looks like Monica agrees that the 49ers' toughest game on the schedule is the Tennessee Titans. I would agree with that. Let's see. It's like Luke Luna says, LOL, with our defense, hell yeah, making Swiss cheese out of those Packers. Looks like Josh says 9-8. I wonder which team is he referring to, the Chargers or the Niners, that he thinks is going 9-8. Luke Luna, in response to that waiver wire queen, Jimmy G is not terrible. Like, wow, terrible quarterbacks don't win games, even if they have a good defense. Hence Washington. No, that's very true. Yeah, I don't think Jimmy G's terrible. He's not the best quarterback in the NFL, but no, he's not terrible. Luke Luna has the Niners going 12-5. I agree with that. Monica has the Niners going 13-4. Blue True says, thumbs up, Niner Empire. Exactly. I appreciate that, Blue True. Let's see. Luke Luna says Rams are in a prime year for a letdown season because everyone thinks they will be so good with Stafford, and they lost RB1 already. That is true. They did lose RB1. I think Stafford will be fine, but we'll see. Can another running back step up? They got Henderson, but who do they have behind him? A lot of unproven depth. So we'll see. Let's see. Nicho TV. What's good? Appreciate you coming through to the stream, Nicho. He says, what's good? Good show going on. Joey Bosa and Nick Bosa are so good. I can't believe Joey isn't the highest rated on the Chargers in Madden. So if I had to guess, who's the highest rated player on the Chargers in Madden? Maybe Keenan Allen or Herbert? Maybe one of those two players? Waiver Wire Queen says Luke Luna, the defense has and run game has won games. Jimmy G isn't a starting quarterback in the NFL. Hot diggity dog. He has a record of 24-8. Waiver Wire Queen. We'll see, though. We'll see how Jimmy does this year. I appreciate your thoughts, though, Waiver Wire Queen. 49ers first text says, Jay, I will watch. Okay. Waiver Wire Queen says, Jimmy G isn't capable of making throws that win Super Bowls. Lance will make those throws. Smart move drafting Trey Lance. I think it was definitely a smart move drafting Trey Lance. Unfortunately, with Jimmy G being, the best ability is availability, and he hasn't been available he's missed more games than he's played. So I definitely agree with the decision to draft Trey Lance and to upgrade that quarterback room by adding Nate Sudfeld. Let's see. 49ers first take says, oh, hell no, LOL. Monica says this was a good stream. I appreciate that, Monica. Waiver Wire Queen says, great job, ladies. They did an excellent job. They represent the Chargers and Niners well. Monica says, I call him Mr. Serotonin Man because that energy always makes you smile. I appreciate that, Monica. J.A. Aguayo says, you two young ladies have a blessed night. I look forward to seeing you on YouTube. Very knowledgeable. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I will forward these comments to Touchdowns and Tightends. Monica says, don't be nervous. Got your back, ladies. Jay Sports says, I can't find their channel. Yeah, I have to look it up to find it on YouTube. Waiver Wire Queen says, Justin Herbert should have a nice year. He will build on last year's season. Washington football team, secondary is suspect, and the quarterbacks are terrible. Yeah. The quarterback, I'm not really a believer in Ryan Fitzmagic, but I agree with Herbert. He should have a pretty good year, sophomore year. Let's see. J.A. Aguayo says, we just have to stay healthy. We can go to 12-5 or 13-4. I definitely agree with that. And I appreciate everyone in the chat tonight. If you're still here, make sure you leave a thumbs up for the chat. Let YouTube and I know that you're enjoying the stream. Shout out to everyone that was in the chat tonight on a Friday night. There's a lot of people in here. I appreciate all the support. There were some new folks in here. Hopefully they subscribed. Shout out to Luke with that $2 super chat. Shout out to Luke again with a $2 super chat. I appreciate all the support. Luke Luna with another $2 chat. All right. Man, let's see. We had another Luke Luna with $5 chat and Blue True with $10. I appreciate that, Luke Luna, Blue True. And that's all the super chats I see. There might have been a few more. I apologize if I don't put it up on the screen, but there's been so many comments. There's been so many people coming through that YouTube won't allow me, or excuse me, StreamYard won't allow me to scroll back up to all the comments. But I appreciate all the support. Jay Sports says, I searched it up but can't find it. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'd have to continue to look for it. But yeah, if I do find it, I'll definitely put it in the description. In the description of this video. I'll definitely put it there if I find the YouTube. But check them out. They're on IG and TikTok. Those links should be in the description. You can check those out. And I appreciate everyone joining me tonight. There was some news today in the 49ers training camp. What I heard, Deebo Samuel, he left practice. Unfortunately, he has a strained glute, and they'll be doing an MRI on it, I believe, sooner than later. So hopefully nothing's too serious about Deebo. I heard Trey Lance did work with the first team offense, and he made some plays. It was great to see George Kittle go up against one of the better young safeties in the league, in Derwin James. That was definitely good to see. Shout out to Corey Davis, the $5 super chat. I appreciate you, brother. He says, happy Friday, Jay in the Bay. Hopefully you have a good Friday, KD, and also an excellent weekend. I will be, speaking of this weekend, I will be live streaming probably a pregame show, maybe about 3 p.m. Pacific time. I believe the Niners game this Sunday is at 4:30. I believe. Is that 4:30 Pacific? I think. Let me double check. But basically, I'll be doing a 49ers pregame and postgame show. That way we could talk about the faithful. We could talk about the Niner Empire. And yeah, it looks like that 49ers Chargers game is 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. So I'll probably do a pregame stream at 3 o'clock and then a post-game stream, whenever the game ends. So that way we can talk about what we saw with the Niners and Chargers. 49ers first take, best interview yet, huh? Yeah, I forgot when I said that. I forgot that they did an interview with you, 49ers first takes, and your interview was excellent. I'm sure both our interviews, they're like neck and neck, man. KD says yes. Probably about the start time of the game. So yeah, this Sunday, pregame, postgame for the 49ers. Definitely looking forward to it. And yeah, I appreciate everyone coming here on a Friday night. That says a lot. I appreciate that. And hopefully everyone has a good, safe weekend. Shout out to everyone watching. Jay intheBay Facebook page, Spotlight Sports Network Facebook page, and of course, Jay intheBay YouTube. Let's see. 49ers First Take says, I'm playing all love. Jay Guayo 56, he says, have a blessed night, Jay intheBay, and all the faithful. You guys have a blessed night as well. Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Thanks for watching and supporting your boy, Jay intheBay. And shout out to also the Touchdowns and Tightends. They represent the 49ers and Chargers well. I can't wait to have them on the show again. And also check out their content on their YouTube page. And it's been a blast. Definitely one of the best interviews I've had since I've been, doing this YouTube thing. So everyone have a good night, good weekend. I'll see you guys on Sunday. And thanks for watching your boy, Jay intheBay. I'll see you guys in the next live stream. See you soon.